All across the UK, populations of our native farmland birds, insects and mammals are plummeting. Bird numbers have dropped by 48% in the last 40 years. Some species have declined by 90%. Scientists tell us that this decline is mainly due to modern industrialised farming practices. But it doesn't have to be that way. Welcome to Lark Rise Farm, where the Countryside Restoration Trust leads the way in wildlife-friendly farming. When the Trust acquired this farm in 1998, it was a bleak landscape consisting of one crop, intensively cultivated wheat. Under the Trust's management, the landscape has been transformed, and the wildlife is flourishing. Bird numbers have doubled. Barn owls not seen here for 40 years are breeding. Bats and otters are back, and brown hare numbers are increasing. Butterflies, bumblebees, and other endangered insects are thriving. The Trust and our tenant farmer have used many methods to restore this landscape. We started by replacing the endless fields of cereal monoculture with a colourful mosaic of smaller fields in which we grow a wide range of both winter and spring sown crops, from oilseed rape to linseed, barley and hay. Crop diversity increases disease resistance and, combined with other methods, reduces our need for fertilisers and pesticides. With fewer harmful chemicals in the environment, we next look for ways of improving habitat, such as new hedgerows, stubble fields, beetle banks and grass margins. Hedges, the backbone of the farmland habitat, offer food, nesting and protection. Stubble fields, left after a cereal crop is harvested, provide a rich winter larder of spilt grain, weeds and insects. Beetle banks supply essential overwintering habitat for insects, spiders and birds. Grass margins foster wild flowers which feed bumblebees and butterflies, provide nesting places for mice, voles and birds, and soak up nitrate fertilisers which could pollute watercourses. The farm's own natural watercourse, Bourne Brook, also needed attention. By acquiring land along its banks and replacing arable crops with traditional hay meadows, we provided a reservoir for floodwater and a buffer for the river from chemicals and soil erosion. The meadows are now home to more than 100 species of native wildflowers, while the brook hosts otters and dragonflies. Frogs thrive in ponds nearby. Grass snakes have reappeared, and our 2 osier beds provide ideal insect and bird habitats. Lark Rise has become a symbol of the way farming can be made to work for and with the natural environment. But one farm isn't enough. With our education and outreach programme, including school visits, our new pond dipping platform, our signed and guided walks, open days and volunteer programme, we aim to help children and adults to understand the relationship between the food on their plate and the countryside from which it comes. A countryside, a landscape worth fighting for.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the man behind all of that, Robin Page, the vocal yokel, the rural polyglot, is right here. Robin, that was made a few years ago. Yes, you do, yes. Near your mouth.
Yeah. Could you remind me what a polyglot is, please?
It's a kind of margarine.
Margarine?
that was made a few years ago. Yeah. Where is the CRT now? Where's the Countryside Restoration Trust now?
Where are we now? We've got 8 farms and 2 or 3 small holdings. We're trying to get land in Dorset at the moment.
You're based in Cambridge?
We are based in Cambridge, but we want to spread the message around that farming and wildlife can coexist, and we hope to be having Mr. Gove coming to see us soon. And I will be honest, whenever I look at Mr. Gove, I see Mr. B. And so I haven't been a fan until now, but I did hear him speak in London the other day, and he was absolutely brilliant. And I know it is a task of politicians to be brilliant to their audience. He was brilliant. He's coming to Lark Rise Farm in Cambridgeshire soon. And the message that he's giving, as I understand it, for Brexit, and you will know that I have been an evil Brexiteer for a very long time, going back to the referendum party, The key with it all is that subsidies of the future, in my view, must go to the farmers who are having environmental pluses on their farm and the farmers who are producing wildlife as well as quality food.
So you're talking about, I mean, this is the problem, is the difference between stewardship and commercial farming, producing food, or as they might even go further and say producing profit. Is that the problem at the moment?
Look, when you look at the fact that there are 50,000 stewardship schemes operating now, and the wildlife on farms is still going down. And so at the moment we're putting a lot of money in to stewardship schemes that don't work. We have to look at why they don't work, and a lot of money is going to people who shouldn't get it. Why do the McToos with their racehorses, why do they get money for owning land in England? It is totally bizarre. So we've got to be more selective about who gets the money, and we've got to make sure that those who get the money are doing positive things for wildlife. And one of the positive things that I would like to do on my farm is keep the RSPB off it, because it seems to me that if you've got the RSPB on your land, that is the kiss of death.
Can you get a grant for that?
Come on. Keeping Mark Avery off your farm, I would hope so. That would be a really good plus. And so we've got to encourage people. You know, the NFU and the CLA and Farmers Weekly have been saying we've got to be able to cut our hedges in August. Why? And they use terms like pigeons are vermin. If you've got too many pigeons, you need to control them. They're not vermin, they're pigeons. Pigeon pie, I wouldn't eat vermin pie, but I would like to eat pigeon pie. And so we've got to look at things. And what I hate is people who mow all their ditch edges as soon as they can, people who cut their hedges in August, and people who complain, oh, we've got to grow 3 crops now in our plan for the farm. Our tenant farmer in Cambridgeshire, and you're all welcome to come, ring up the Countryside Restoration Trust, and I'd love you to see what we do. He actually plants 8 or 9 combinable crops. And then you get some of these big commercial people saying, oh, we don't know how we're going to manage, it's going to hit our profit so much. We've got 3 crops this year. Oh, come on. And the other thing he does is he actually has a mosaic. And so he doesn't block crop, he has a mosaic all around the land, and so wildlife has a choice. It says 8 or 9 crops, permanent grass, all these choices. So we've got lots of skylarks, we've got lots of grey partridges. It's almost an embarrassment which we don't shoot. We've got lots of pheasants, which are not an embarrassment because we have 1 shoot of wild pheasants a year, which I think for a conservation charity is good. Lulu and I go beating. You're very welcome to come beating, Charlie, but it might be past, you might be past it at your age.
We could go at any time, but it's nice to know that. Make the most of it.
And I do eat roast pheasant, it's my favourite food, and so that's all part of the harvest of Rice Farm.
Can I pick up what you said about Michael Gove? One problem he's going to have is going back to his good friend, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and saying, we've decided to put a lot of money into stewardship, and because none of them make any money, and the only way we're going to have a British countryside is if we pay for it. Now, the agribusiness lot say, no, you can have a countryside, but it will make a profit. You don't have to pay for it.
I wish you wouldn't. I wish you wouldn't call it the agribusiness people. I prefer to call them subsidy junkies.
It's so slippery, isn't it? He just dodges the question all the time.
I'm not dodging the question.
No, I know you're not.
And the point is, you can produce quality food and quality wildlife. And so the trick is, how do you do it? You've got to allow people to take parts of their farm out of intensive production and allow the wildlife that has shared the land with us for hundreds of years to continue sharing it with us. It's a matter of responsibility.
But it's also a matter of money.
Look, since the Telegraph's factory,
There's a hat out there.
I've got no money at all, and you're not paying me for today.
Misery, isn't it?
And I have to say the Times is far better for the countryside. If any of you read that, it's brilliant, and it's better for cricket. And I have to say the Times aren't paying me anything. I wish they would, but a much better paper than the Daily Telegraph now. But we really got to get into people's head the question of responsibility and also paying proper money for environmentally friendly produced food. And we did talk, we've actually registered the name Wild Farm, which means that if you were to buy a Wild Farm product, you would be buying a loaf of bread or a pint of beer or a cabbage or whatever, and you would be buying barn owls and butterflies too. The only trouble is, as a marketing tool for properly produced food, we haven't got the money to develop the idea. But that is another. But it must be possible to persuade people to produce properly produced food, and knowing that it's food over which barn owls fly, where marbled lights appear. The funny thing about, well, it's not funny, it's very indicative of the way people live their lives. If we have groups of farmers with their wives come round Lark Rise Farm, the blokes look at it and say, oh dear, it's a bit untidy, isn't it? Oh dear, they haven't cut their hedges yet. And the wives say, I say, Rupert, why aren't you farming like this? And so that is quite an interesting way that the blokes are looking like you are, Charlie.
At the money.
At the bottom line.
You say that to their faces.
And and the wives are saying, wouldn't it be nice if our farm looked like this?
Right, let's do a little straw poll. Back in the 1930s, when much of what Robin describes was in this kind of area, your food bill would have been 11% of your take-home pay. How many people here would be prepared to pay 11% of your take-home pay so you get a countryside of the kind of rich natural heritage? Hands up, please. That's pretty good. Now I can see a little bit of virtue.
You can leave now, Charlie.
I can. Right, how many people here are happy with the way it is at the moment? Not many. One, two. We're going to have to give him a microphone. Hold on. Name, rank and number first.
Okay, sorry.
Are you a farmer?
I am a farmer, yeah. Ross Cherrington. So, I'm not a commercial farmer. I have a very wet farm in Devon.
None of them are.
No, well, they try to be. And I totally appreciate what Robin's trying to do at Leeds. I assume that your tenant claims the basic payment, and he claims a higher level stewardship agreement, which is probably more than he makes off the farm, combined. And there are rules behind the basic payment, which means that most farmers, if they claim it, have to follow it. No, they're not inspected very well. Now, if that basic payment is taken away, what's to stop the intensive agricultural boys from dairy farmers in the West Country to arable boys in the East from doing what they want?
Right, relinquish the microphone, and Robin, can you answer that, please?
We just got to make the rules so people comply with them if they want them. If somebody wants to be a commercial farmer and do his own thing, I haven't got a problem with it. I don't like what he does. I wouldn't like to live on his farm. And I would say that his wife probably wishes she hadn't married him. And so that is a personal choice. But if they want to get the money for producing wildlife, then they have to comply with regulations.
Go on.
And I haven't got a problem. I do it. My small farm is in higher level as well, and I don't know it.
Don't know what?
I was going to say I don't knowingly break any rules.
It's more matter the badgers you brought up once.
No, I will say that I regard all my sheep as pets, and I did bury one in the field last week.
Right,
And I would challenge any livestock owner, farmer here, who hasn't broken the absurd EU rules for setting fire to all your dead stock.
Does that answer your question completely or partly?
I think no. I think
It's a position. It's a position. Okay. Can you see a future where the kind of farm you're describing is profitable? It's not going to be a tax on all of us?
I've been very interested in the dairy debate that has gone on, because I think the advert about milk was an absolute disgrace.
Which one? Which one?
It was in the papers during the week. Was it Petter or somebody? But at the same time, there is an element of truth in it. And the point people who criticise dairy farming, like me, tend to miss is the reason that people are farming so intensively with their cattle, keeping them in the whole year, cutting grass from March until November, so that you've got no partridges, you've got no butterflies, you've got no brown hares, etc., etc., is because the supermarkets and the ordinary distributors' milk are not paying a fair price.
Well, that's their fault. The people who are buying the milk from supermarkets, they're not paying the fair price.
Well, yes.
You're blaming them. There's more of them than there are you know that.
We've got to start people paying the fair price for what is being produced. There has to be a price differential so that commercial farming product gets a price at supermarket level, and there should be a superior price when you're buying wildlife, where you're buying the environment, where you're buying landscape at the same time.
So you're seeing bumping people into buying it, you're not suggesting an owl tax?
An owl tax? Well, I would like one, because our vine owls are doing extremely well, and so that would be a good thing. But we've got to get people away from buying the cheapest, and they've got to be buying what is the most environmentally reasonable and responsible food. And we have to get the NFU, and the CLA to come in and actually recognise it. As soon as you say environment or conservation, they sort of backpedal. And that's why on the Countryside Restoration Trust we allow people to have beards and we allow people to wear sandals, but they're not allowed to wear the two at the same time.
I can appreciate that, yes. That would make no sense, yeah. All right. You're Mr. Gove's friend for the day. You might be his friend for life. It's like the old you. I have to say, he refused to come here and stand on the stage of the game fair.
This year?
Yes, unfortunately. He is sending somebody on Sunday, but he said he would do it himself. So he's not my favourite person. But let's say he has all, he's got all the marbles in his hand. Hasn't lost any of them yet. What would you like him to walk away from your meeting, and what policy statement would you like him to say, given where they are in politics at the moment?
I would like him to put subsidies on the food that is being sold, and so I would like him now look, I'm not a commie, I'm not an extreme lefty, but I would like the government to intervene on the pricing of food.
You're an interventionist.
I would like them to say, you have to pay for the milk at this rate, bring back the milk marketing board. That was one of the most stupid things that was ever done. I would also like him, the grain market just bewilders me, and the futures market in grain bewilders me. And so I believe that we have to have government intervention of pricing, but of course all the free marketeers don't like this. And I haven't got a problem with it. I want to see people rewarded properly for what they're producing. And I want to see the countryside flourishing from what is being produced. And why should I have to make money, if I want to, and I don't, by selling a field for building? I don't want to do it. I want to make money from my farm, from the produce that I'm getting now, which are single sucklers and barn owls. And I'm proud of barn owls.
There's also a question about the fabric of the social fabric of the countryside as well, which, I mean, does CRT have a view on that, about how we all live?
It's getting increasingly difficult. The fabric of the countryside, as you know, Britain is becoming increasingly urban. Since losing the Telegraph, I have started tweeting and blogging, and the results from the urban maniacs from tweets, it is just incredible. There is a huge body of opinion out there that doesn't understand country life, that doesn't understand how food is produced, can't recognise wildflowers, birds, all the rest of it, and they're lecturing us on how to farm. And tomorrow we've got the BBC Rural Champion coming.
We have. You know, you're looking forward to that.
Champion the Wonder Horse.
If you enjoy bullfighting, come and watch us debate with Robin about the BBC's slant on the countryside tomorrow morning at 10.
And so, does Countryfile show the sort of society and community that you live in? It doesn't show what I live in. Does Springwatch show any of this? Doesn't, not to me. And so we've got a real problem about the BBC showing the countryside as entertainment and not as the communities are there, not how traditional rural people live their lives, and at times I feel isolated.
But isn't it up to us to, particularly you as somebody who's blogged?
Not particularly me.
No, it is up to you personally. No, but shouldn't you be educating the mass? I mean, they've only just got the internet. You understandably badly behaved on it, aren't they?
Yeah, we're trying to educate it, but if you say anything which is mildly upsetting to certain people, you get dozens and dozens of people insulting you who are all part of Mr. Packham's cult and Mr. Avery's cult. They're sort of organised to insult. And so it's very difficult to make points, very difficult to educate. Because you're under pressure.
It has to be part. It has to be part of some kind of educational curriculum, doesn't it? We had Charles Jardine here earlier talking about fishing for schools. Brilliant bloke, brilliant initiative, and it's it's educating thousands and thousands of people about fishing. Same thing for you.
Well, we do need to get more and more school children on the farms, not just as a one-off visit, but as regular visits throughout the year, and visits in winter, spring, summer, and autumn. That is very important, and they have to see farming that is producing milk, producing wheat for bread, etc. And they have to see the wildlife that can come with it as well. And I know it's difficult because every time I look here I see Phil Merrick's here, who has sort of pioneered doing, don't look at his shoes, they're not particularly good. But, you know, he's done a lot, a pioneer, and there are lots of people who are trying to do it, but we do feel a bit isolated. And in fact, that is one of the things Mr. Goad could do. He could give farms that allow schools onto their farms and have proper education policies to actually get more as a subsidy so they can employ proper coaching people as teachers and people understand it so that you can get the show on the road more efficiently.
Right, one last little poll for Robin. How many people here think he should have his column back in the Times or the Telegraph? Oh yeah, 2 hands, lots of 2 hands here. Well done. Thank you, Robin Page.
Could I just say, it's been a pleasure. If